Hi there, welcome back. We are still on chapter 1 of the Reclaiming Native Language series. In the last video, we looked at the power of language in shaping who we are. We talked about elements of native language like grammar and vocabulary and what they reveal about the way of life of its speakers, what they value, and how they understand reality. Today, we'll delve into the profound connection between language and worldview. We'll examine what a person's language reveals about their values, their beliefs, and their spiritualities. As we've discussed, many native languages have a relational worldview that sees humans as connected to the natural world. Unlike the idea of living versus non-living or biotic versus abiotic, many indigenous languages classify nouns in ways that go beyond just simple biology. For instance, a rock might be considered animate, reflecting a belief that all things possess spirit or energy. This is a nuance that speakers of native languages can either attest to or agree with. Native languages that classify natural elements like bodies of water, rocks, tools as animate cue us into a deep spiritual connection to nature. This is notably different in comparison to English, where all such objects are simply referred to as it. This fundamental difference in how language frames our understanding of objects can directly shape our behavior, our interaction with and treatment of them. More than just behavior, native languages often contain words and grammatical structures that represent or express spiritual beliefs that are, again, central to the way of life of its speakers, but have no parallel in Western thoughts. The Piraha language, spoken by the Piraha people in the Amazon, offers a fascinating example of how language shapes worldview. The language does not have specific terms for numbers and no words for past or present tense. Instead, the Piraha speak only about what is in their immediate present direct experience. Their grammar is built around suffixes that specify whether a piece of information was personally seen, heard from someone else, or simply inferred or interpreted. This unique language structure is telling of a cultural or a traditional philosophy that places a high value on first-hand experience and personal accountability. It also highlights the importance of authenticity and truth. This focus on verifiable present moment reality is a core part of their identity and their way of life. Building on this ideology, one of the most powerful teachings found across many indigenous spiritual traditions, including the Amazonian peoples, is this deep value placed on being fully present. Life is not measured by what has passed or what may come, but by the richness of the current moment, the now. This wisdom isn't only found in ancient oral traditions. Surprisingly, it's echoed in modern storytelling too. In the animated film Kung Fu Panda, a moment of reflection captured this lesson beautifully.
Too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
The idea that today is a gift reflects a worldview shared by many native communities. The present isn't just a passing moment, it's sacred. Among some Amazonian tribes, there is no strong linguistic separation between past and present and future. Time is circular, not linear. What matters most is your attention to the present, your connection to the land, your breath, your spirit, and the people around you right now. The modern world often pulls us away from this, but teachings like these, captured in native languages, whether ancient or animated, remind us to return. When native lessons are translated into dominant languages like English, the robust richness is flattened and even distorted. The holistic meanings, most times packed into a single word of a native language, is reduced to a clumsy, incomplete definition, weakening the deep connection to a culture's ethics and beliefs, and thereby eroding traditional knowledge systems and cultural perceptions of reality. The takeaway here is that the language we speak and or understand not only reflects how we think, but also shapes our thought process. Your native language makes you unique. It stands you out. It offers you a magical view of the world and your place within it. Embrace that and honor that. Okay, let's ground this in real lived experiences that show how language gatekeeps traditional ecological knowledge and shapes our belief systems. Ecological knowledge simply means knowledge of one's local environment. In many cases, healing practices and artistic expressions are deeply rooted in and most effectively communicated through a specific native language. In the previous video, episode 1, we began exploring how native languages communicate the relationship between a people and their environment. One powerful example given was the Inuit languages, which have multiple words for snow and ice. Why? Because each word communicates critical distinctions. Snow that's ideal for building an igloo, snow that can be dangerous, and snow that signals good hunting conditions. This shows a strong connection between the people, the land, and nature built into the language itself. Life-saving knowledge like this is woven into Inuit languages and can't fully be explained in any other way. It's a clear example of how traditional ecological knowledge is preserved and effectively communicated through native language. Now let's look at another powerful real-world example, this time showing how native language protects and preserves traditional spiritual knowledge and healing practices. Traditional healing is often holistic, blending spiritual beliefs, plant medicine, and community rituals. Language is the key tool through which this knowledge is activated, shared, practiced, and passed down. Ayahuasca ceremony of the Amazonian people and culture. A form of native therapy with the use of a psychoactive brew known as ayahuasca. You may have come across references to a traditional Amazonian healing ceremony, often mentioned in documentaries, television programs, or on social media, particularly in the context of people seeking alternative treatments for trauma or substance abuse. Many individuals travel to South America, especially countries like Peru or Brazil, to participate in ayahuasca ceremonies. While the brew itself, made from ayahuasca vine and other plants, is central to the experience, the healing is not attributed to the drink alone. A key element of the ceremony is the singing of the Icaros, sacred songs performed by shamans in indigenous languages. These songs are not simply ritual hymns. They are considered a form of direct communication with plant spirits. Each Icaro carries specific melodies and linguistic structures believed to guide the healing process, protect participants, and cleanse the spirits. Many traditional practitioners and participants view the therapeutic power of the Icaros as inseparable from the indigenous languages in which they are sung, confirming the deep connection between language, spirituality, and healing. Now we'll look at two examples of artistic expressions and their link to traditional knowledge powered by native language. Artistic traditions, from music to visual art, often find their deepest expression and meaning through the native language that gave birth to them. The art of tamoko, the traditional Maori style of tattooing. The designs and patterns of moko are a form of visual narratives that tell the stories of their ancestry, achievement, and tribe. You might be familiar with what are commonly referred to as tribal tattoos. Many people are drawn to this style not only for its bold and intricate visual appeal, but also for the deeper cultural meaning it often represents. One of the most well-known and respected forms of this tradition is Maori tattooing, known as tamoko, practiced by the indigenous Maori people found in New Zealand. Unlike modern tattooing, tamoko is not just body art. It is a sacred practice that reflects a person's genealogy, social status, achievements, and tribal affiliations. The patterns and placements of the tattoos carry specific meanings, and no two moko are the same. Symbols used are best described through the Maori worldview, conveyed using Maori language and concepts. Historically, tamoko was applied using chisels rather than needles, carving the skin to leave textured grooves. This process was not only physically painful, but spiritually significant. Receiving a moko was and still is a rite of passage, especially for men and women transitioning into adulthood. These ceremonies are often accompanied by prayers and songs and storytelling in the Maori language, reinforcing its cultural importance and preserving intergenerational knowledge. For Maori, The practice remains inseparable from their language, land, and sense of self. The tamoko was an example of visual arts. The oriki of the Yoruba people is an example of musical and poetic arts. The Yoruba people of West Africa have a tradition of oriki, a form of praise poetry that is central to their oral literature and artistic expression. These poetic verses are used to praise deities, individuals, and families by invoking their history, personality, and accomplishments. The power of an oriki lies not just in its words, but in its tonal qualities and rhythm. When performed, they are said to activate the spiritual essence or ashe of the subject. This is a good place to pause our conversation for today on how native language shapes worldview and expresses social, cultural, and spiritual beliefs of a people. We'll pick up where we left off in the next video, episode 3, where we'll explore language as a repository, a metaphorical safe that stores traditional generational knowledge as we bring chapter 1 to a close. See you there.